Welcome to What a Creep, the show with Margot Donohue and Sonia Mansfield talking about creeps from the past to the present.
This is your quick guide to the biggest creeps, jerks, assholes, and losers, the best of the worst.
From two nice ladies who want the world to be a little less creepy.
Welcome back to What a Creep. This is Margot Donohue, and my cohort in creepitude, as always, is the amazing Sonia Mansfield. Hey, Sonia.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. We are the podcast that talks about creeps from the past to the present. Today, it's an old-timey Hollywood crime from the 80s, Sonia.
The 80s.
When people did... when people did a lot of cocaine, as we're about to find out. This is going to be a good one, y'all. But first, let's get started by saying that if this is your first time listening, just so you know, we end every single episode with somebody who is not a creep, so you feel a little bit better about the world than you left going in. And we know how tough the world is right now, so we take that shit very seriously.
Yes, we do.
This is the warning. So we do have a basic Facebook page, but that's where people go to complain about our language. Yes, we use salty language in this program. We're talking about creeps and murder and all kinds of horrible things. So yes, this is your warning. Earmuffs, if you have to, with your children. We use
Shit, fuck, damn.
There you go. We're much more interactive in our private Facebook group. You do have to answer a few questions in order to join. Sonia's been very vigilant lately because I don't go on there nearly as much as I used to. And I just did the other morning and I almost threw up because I'm just like, what happened to Facebook? I love our group, by the way.
Yes.
We keep it real. We keep it, creepy, but not like against our us. It's more like a nice little inclusive place. But what the hell is going on there?
I know. I did go in there and I updated our policies and the questions. So in order to join the group, you have to answer the questions. If you don't answer the questions, we can't let you in. We're all working very hard to keep that a good space. And that included turning off Facebook's creepy AI bot.
Ooh.
It was so... Did you see this?
Yeah, so what was this about? Please tell me.
So they turned it on. They didn't ask us if we wanted it. And it was like, I'm your virtual assistant. I'm Creep Catcher is what it called itself. And it summarized our week and it's all this stuff. And I was like, we don't want that shit here. We want real people here interacting with each other. We don't want bots.
Yeah, we don't want their shitty sources. Right. We want real sources.
And they made it hard to disable it too. Or I'm sorry, turn it off. They made it very hard to turn it off. I had to go in a fucking Reddit thread to figure it out. It was stupid. But it is turned off. No bots.
Okay, I might need your help later because for book versus movie, we might need that. I mean, they haven't found us there yet, I don't think, but ugh.
As I said in the group, it is a bad user experience to just turn things on like that and then make people figure out how to turn it off. And I didn't know it was on until it posted something in our group. And then our people in our group are like, I don't respect our robot overlords. Get them out of here. So I was like, I'm on it. So they are gone. I will, I'll do some screenshots for you so you can see.
Okay, thank you.
How to do it. Yeah.
So that's a place to interact with us. That's where we're the most interactive. That's where we have to keep on top of things. But we also are on Threads, Instagram, and Blue Sky at What a Creep Podcast. And we have an old-timey email, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. And I know I say this every week, but I really will get out some stickers. For those that want stickers, please email us your address. We will do that for you. I was just very, very sick. It was just...
She's been unwell, y'all, and she's on the road to recovery.
Yes.
But let's give her a little grace, all right?
But I have your names and your addresses. It will get out to you. I will find you eventually.
I will find you.
I will get to you. Sonia, tell them about the website.
Yeah, go to whatacreeppodcast.com and it's everything you want to know about the podcast, but we're afraid to ask. We have links to all of our past episodes and you can open them up. They're little blog posts and they expand and you could see our show notes because we source everything we do. We're not making this stuff up. We want to give people credit for the work they do. So if you're looking for a deeper dive on any of our creeps, fabulous place to start. We also have a link to our merch shop so you can get t-shirts and tote bags and get face masks and posters if you want a poster or a pillow. Get a pillow if you want, whatever you want. So do those things. There's also a link to our Patreon. Tell them about that, Margot.
Patreon. We are on season 29 here of our show. We usually do about 10 to about a dozen a season. The first 9 seasons are on our Patreon wall only. That's just for people who sign up and pay. Thank you so much for all of you that do that. We not only give you that, but we give you 2 bonus episodes a month. And then those bonus episodes, it's just Sonia and I shooting the shit, talking about things that are happening in the news, things we're dorking out about, things that we want to wreck for you, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, they're usually on video too, so you can see.
And we make an audio version and a video version, so you can see our pusses if you wanted to know what that looks like. So all of you that sign up there, thank you so very much. We really, really appreciate it. You can also sign up for free because occasionally we post things that are like video clips or, that we use for us.
Yeah.
So sometimes I haven't in a few weeks, but you never know. Go check it out. You never know.
Please do.
Yes.
And we use that Patreon money to pay for all the sources that we use on the episodes because we like to pay people for their work.
Right, including Rolling Stone, which is just for that's $99 a year just for the online. I by accident purchased the print version, which is like $69. Like, I don't read it.
69.
So I sent that to customer service. I'm sure they'll get right on that with that refund. But anyway, thank you all so very much. We really appreciate it. And I guess we can get started on today's episode. And I just want to give you, Sonia?
Oh, I was just going to say one more thing.
iTunes, sorry.
Yes,
Apple.
no, it's totally fine. If y'all could leave a review, that would be lovely. It helps us find our people, and we're always looking, or tell a friend, whatever. But somebody left us a review on Apple. It was so lovely. It's Dinny Wife, and she gave us 5. He or she? No, wife. So they gave us 5 stars. It says you will binge this podcast, and they wrote a very lovely review, and they ended it with letting us keep on creeping it real, ladies. And I'm all, thanks for the new slogan.
Sonia saw merch dancing before her eyes.
Yes, I was like, ding, ding.
Right away. Also on Spotify, Creeping It Real, and also on Spotify, those of you, because you can do that right through the app on your phone. It really helps us, like Sonia says, find our people. So we really appreciate it. I want to give a little bit of this is a very high level discussion that we're going to have, and it's called the Cotton Club Murders. And I said to Sonia, and I thought about this all week. What am I going to cover? What am I going to cover? And the way the world news is and everything like that, I got to decide, how depressing is it going to be? How, deep do I want to go? How much do I need to learn? That kind of things. So I was like, the Cotton Club murder. I remember when this was, a thing. I actually saw the movie in the movie theater. Didn't like it. But I wanted to... But there are stories that go on around it. And Sonia said, I have no idea what that is. I'm like, bingo. That's what makes this really fun. So for those of you that really, really know this story, there are multiple channels to go through. We would be here all day. There's a few different podcasts. One of them had like 6 episodes just on this one topic. We're not doing that. We're just going to do, like I said, a high overview. But I just thought it would be kind of cool. It's like about 40 plus years ago, Hollywood, 83, a murder. And it's about an impresario, and it's got a lot going on here. So let's dig into it.
Yeah, Margot sent me a little hint of what was to come. She's like, it has everything.
It is. And then she sent me back a Stefan thing.
This episode has everything.
This week's episode covers the 1983 murder of Roy Raydin. I can't go through the whole time. I'll be...
No.
A theatrical producer with ties to a planned film called The Cotton Club. At the time, director Francis Ford Coppola and producer Robert Evans were developing the film, a period crime drama loosely based on the original club. You're familiar with The Cotton Club, right? It's in Harlem.
I know the movie. Yeah, I know what the club is, and I know that there was the movie, and I think it has Gregory Hines and Richard Gere.
It has Gregory Hines and his brother, shirtless and tap dancing.
What? I know you don't like the movie, but maybe I
But
need to
those
watch it.
those
Okay.
parts, I can just and Richard Gere's super freaking hot in here. This
Yeah,
It's
and
got-
Diane Lane, right?
gorgeous. With,
Yeah. Okay.
with like a cloche hat, you know,
Yeah.
and her beautiful
Looks
face. It
okay.
should have been, you know, and I was like upset. I was a weird kid. Okay, picture it, 1984. Baby Margot. Teenage Margot that was like really into the 1920s and like the jazz age. I don't know why. I just got,
No,
you get
here's
into a thing.
This is the thing. Everything, it ebbs and flows. We all go through like there was just not what 10 years ago people were all in the Gatsby shit. Like
Right.
it happens. Like it ebbs and flows. And then people will get into like 50s shit, and then people will get into hippie shit, and then they'll get into disco shit. And right now we're in this like late 90s, early 2000 thing. And I
Yeah.
was like, and I just keep telling people, don't overpluck your eyebrows. Don't fall for that shit.
Please do not overpluck those eyebrows, y'all.
But enjoy your your like boot cut jeans and
Yes.
sparkle body lotion. Knock yourself out.
Do it. Do it. So like I said, I was a weird kid that was into like the 1920s. So I heard about this movie. I'm like, oh, I'll go see it. And I went with my mom and we were both like fell asleep. It's not good. But anyway, Roy Raydin is who we're talking about today. He is our murder victim. He was found murdered execution style in a remote canyon in California, about 65 miles north of LA. The killing was eventually tied to a tangled web involving a cocaine-filled ambition, mob connections, and a bitter feud over money tied to the movie's production. This movie that made no fucking money, by the way. This is also part of the story. One of the key figures was Karen Greenberger, and she's a drug-addled femme fatale with ties to organized crime. There's some amazing characters here. That's why I wanted to tell this story. Today's episode discusses the major players in the murder of Roy Raydin and the strain it had on the career of Robert Evans, one of the most successful Hollywood players up to that point. Trigger warnings are murder and sexual assault, and just quick overview of our sources. There's the Roy Raydin Wikipedia. There's a Wondery podcast called Hollywood and Crime. All That Is Interesting. The Golden Globes has a story about this on the official Golden Globes website.
Mm-hmm.
UPI.
Nice.
Vulture has a very long article about this. There's a clip from the 1980s, The Deadliest Decade. That's from CNN.
Okay.
There's an article from the LA Times and from the New York Times. So
Deadliest decade.
yes. So I want you to picture, I know. I want you to picture it, but 1983. So here are people. So Robert Evans was a man who, in the 1960s into the 70s, he was an actor, and then he became a studio executive. He ran Paramount Pictures. He reported Charlie Bluthorn. The Kid Stays in the Picture is like one of the best documentaries about movies you'll ever see. It's certainly one of the best audiobooks you'll ever listen to. He is a raconteur to the like nth degree. He was handsome, he was charming, and some of his movies are The Godfather, Rosemary's Baby, The Conversation, Love Story. He was a part of all these really big films. And then his career kind of went because studio executives get fired. I mean, it's not a job you keep for very long. They get a few years
Correct.
and then they go. Then we also have Francis Ford Coppola, who, like we said, he created The Godfather, The Godfather 2, The Conversation. He had a really good streak with films, and then he did not. And there is a movie called One from the Heart, which was in particular a tough one. It was Zoetrope Studios, and I don't know if you remember this. I don't. We were both really young, but this is 1981. It's a musical, and it's
it's well regarded now. It's one of those ones where it just didn't find its people.
Yeah.
Back then, I would say it's like a cult movie now. Like it has a loyal fan base.
Oh,
I've actually
absolutely.
never seen it. I've never seen it, and maybe I should. Maybe it's time.
It's got Terry Garr, Nastasha Kinski, Raul Julia, Frederick Forrest. It's a musical. It's really sumptuous. I mean, it looks beautiful, but it had this budget of 26 million and it made nothing. I mean, it was really in the shitter. And so that was his career, all of a sudden. And Zoetrope Studios was his film studio, and he put all of his money into that. And he used to put all of his money into his films. What's the one I'm thinking of? War movie, 1979.
Apocalypse.
Thank you.
Now.
And that one was almost killed him. That was a movie that almost killed him because he had I think Martin Sheen had a heart attack on the set, but he had a mental breakdown.
There's an amazing documentary about the making of Apocalypse Now. It's called like Hearts of Darkness.
Yes.
And it's his
Eleanor
wife was on set all the time, and she caught all these moments on video, and it's really, really interesting like to see like what it's like to make a movie like not on a set. Like they're out in it, like
they're
trying
in Philippines.
to make it. Yeah, and you're dealing with the weather and the people and the government and
the army.
Yeah, and the stress of it. It was like a lot of things went wrong on that movie. It's super interesting.
But it became a classic. And that was like part of it was that that was a whole mess because that was a couple of years. Like I said, Martin Sheen almost died making that movie.
Yeah.
And then it became, what we talk about now, Apocalypse Now, and people do still show it on the big screen and things like that. So this movie, One from the Heart, was considered a huge failure for him. It was and then they're like, well, it's a new decade. Does he have it in him anymore? That kind of shit. Okay, so let's get into Roy Raydin, who is our impresario. He's a show business promoter. He was born in New York, November 13th, 1949. He grew up with show business parents. His parents were definitely vaudeville. This was not like Broadway, Tony Award winners. This was like the bowels of show business. They had like jugglers. And the mother was almost the stripper that took over for Gypsy Rose Lee. Almost. Like she was that close.
And so she dined out on that for years.
I would too, to be honest with you. So he was born to these people. He's a young man, like I said, 1949. When he's about 16, his father is leaving the family. So he decides that he's going to go into the family business. And the family business is vaudeville. And he's doing this in like 1966, 1967. He's 16 years old. Okay, he's a teenager. Yep. And he has clients like, this list is like hilarious, George Gobel, Frank Gorshin, Henny Youngman, Joey Bishop, Red Buttons, Shecky Green, and Milton Berle.
Shecky Green is just a fun name to say.
Oh, yes.
Shecky Green.
George Jessel, who was a singer, I think. I know that name. And J. Fred Muggs, which is it a chimpanzee that was with the Today Show? Did you ever see Quiz Show and they have like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
That was J. Fred Muggs. And he would do these variety shows around the country. And everybody's like, who is this weird kid? And he was, by the way, he grew up to be 6'4" and usually hovered about 300 pounds. Big dude. His big thing was he was able to take care of his mother and his younger siblings. He got married at 18 and he became a millionaire before he was 20. And he actually bought like a 70-room house in the Hamptons. He went, but it was on the backs of all these schlocky people. I mean, I'm sorry, but this is not like high level. They don't have their variety. They're not even on the variety shows. They're like second string.
It's like pie in the face.
Yeah,
kind of. Waka waka waka. Like that.
Waka, waka, waka. Yeah, it's reflecting on one tour, George Gobel told Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show, Roy Raydin knows as much about show business as a pig knows about church on Sunday. He wasn't exactly an elegant man. He had big appetites. He was really into cocaine. He was really into drinking. He was super into womanizing and had an eye for the ladies. And I guess his wife and his kids just were, a separate life for him.
Yes.
A big thing he loved to do was the tours were financed by, basically, they would pretend that they were benefits. And it was creative financing that would decide how much would actually go to the charities. And the charities, it was everything from handicap... Creative finance. So it was like benefits for handicapped children, police officers, firefighters, local causes. We'd look in the local communities for like what building burned down. Let's go let's put a Georgie Jessel and the J. Fred Muggs and blah, 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 blah. And he's doing this all through the 70s. And every once in a while, he's getting investigated for fraud. And one of those times in 1975, it was found out that only 27% of the funds were ever going to any of the charities. So everything else was going to him.
Ew.
Yeah, he's a creep. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So he also expanded into comedy and music. Eddie Fisher, the Drifters, the Marvelettes, the Shirelles. Okay. So one thing in 1980 is he's in his mansion in Southampton, and there's an actress who was on Welcome Back, Kotter. I'm not going to list her name. You can find her name, but I'd rather not because this part I don't really enjoy. But she was at a party at his house, and she basically, it's one of those, especially with Diddy on trial right now, a lot of drugs. There were a lot of S&M games. This is 1980. This is not exactly a time where we're thinking about the safety of women. This is, yeah. So she's in the house and they're videotaping it, and people are being chained up. People are being given LSD and cocaine. Somebody there, he himself, Raydin, had a handgun with him.
Oh.
And she claims that she was sexually assaulted, beaten and sexually assaulted by one of the guests, goes to the police. And what happened was that there was a $1,000 fine, 3 years probation for the weapons charge, not for what happened to her. The person that hurt her, businessman Robert McKeague, I'll say his name, he pled guilty to assaulting her, and he received exactly 30 days in jail.
Oh, well, that should take care of it.
Right.
That's justice.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to read something from the New York Times. This is he dies in 83, though. So let's just keep this in mind. Mr. Raydin was a show business phenomenon. To many, he was half carnival barker and half Broadway tout, with a vile temper and gargantuan appetite for drugs, drink, women, and work. To others, he was a confused, lonely man who related to women by humiliating them.
Ew.
This is in the New York Times.
You know what? Again, not much has changed.
No.
The New York Times would 100% write that now.
Well, do they know about the 80-20 rule, Sonia?
New York Times.
Raydin, though, really, he's getting no respect. He's made his millions, but the appetite for that kind of an audience is definitely going downhill, and people are getting their own management. They're getting their own stuff going on. So the money is not coming in as it once was. So he is looking to expand, and he has in his head, I've already done stage. I want to do screen now. Right. So he feels like so he wants to be a film producer. And one of his film contacts was Robert Evans. At this point in 1980, let's say 82, 83, Robert Evans is not doing well. He's no longer running Paramount. He lost a lot of money working with other people. And he also has a really big fat cocaine problem. So he has a drug dealer, and her name is Lainey Jacobs. And Lainey Jacobs was from Florida. She's only like 31, 32 when she meets these guys, and she's like becoming the dealer in Hollywood. She's married 6 times already.
All right.
And she also had a shitload of plastic surgery. So she's like really gorgeous, but she's like kooky. I mean, she's dealing drugs. She's going through all these men. She's going through all these surgeries. Like she is really living the 80s. Like
6 times, man. Really, by the 4th time, you're not like, like
maybe she wanted a boob
maybe it's,
job.
yeah, maybe it's not for me. But okay.
Right. So Evans and Raydin meet up, and partially it's through her. And they're hearing about a project called the Cotton Club. And the Cotton Club is a fictionalized story about what's going on at the Cotton Club in the 1920s, New York City. And Francis Ford Coppola wants to direct it. They have this whole, he has a whole crew that he wants to work with, but his last film flopped badly. And he doesn't have a lot of money. I don't know if he even has his vineyards yet, to be honest with you. Like it's pretty bleak.
Yeah, well, and there's one thing Hollywood loves, though, is to, like, give a white guy another chance. Like, if this had been a female director, she would be in movie jail forever and never get to direct. But, that doesn't really happen to male directors. But also, in the 70s, we had, like, there was, like, a whole group of, like, guys
Geniuses.
of like film guys who grew up watching Hollywood movies. They were like educated in the movie theater. So it's like your Coppolas, your Spielbergs, your
De Palma.
Lucas, De Palma, Scorsese, like, and their movies were huge. We had, Godfather, Star Wars, like studios are willing to take that chance.
Yeah, it could happen again.
Like, what if it happened again? Like,
right.
they want their next big thing.
And they also want that thing that like will be featured at the Oscars and the Golden Globes, so everybody can get dressed up and feel special. Like they do want that prestige attached to it.
Yeah. Yes.
But at this point, it's not coming easily for Coppola. So Robert Evans and this guy and Roy Raydin are gonna form a film company. And they're each going to own 45%. And then there's going to be a 10% for two other parties to put money in. So Roy Raydin offered Jacobs, who's, by the way, her real name is Karen Greenberger, or she becomes Karen Greenberger. She marries a Greenberger. Okay. She gets married for her 7th time. This is why it gets a little confusing.
No. Was 7 a lucky number? Did it stick?
No, he died, Sonia, and they never figured out who did it. They made it look like it was a suicide and it was at their house, but they've never been able to figure out how to prove her. Yes, okay. So you asked.
I asked.
She's bad news. This chick.
Okay.
Once again, she's hot, she's gorgeous, she's a cocaine dealer. And she's like setting up all these men to then make money off this film. And all of a sudden she's realizing this is some bullshit. How come I'm only getting, because Roy Raydin offers her $50,000 for a finder's fee. And that's just to set them up together. And then he wants her to leave. And she's like, hey, I've been doing some research and people who are producers of movies make a lot of money. And so she wanted him to give 50% of what he was going to get. And he laughs in her face and is like, no, I'm not doing that. And she says, really? Because I'm connected to a lot of like drug dealers in Los Angeles. You probably don't want to piss me off.
Right.
And his friends had told him, you might want to get more security around you. You might want to just like rethink some things because she sounds really dangerous. And he said, these punks don't scare me. That's how he looked at it. Once again, he's 6'4", a big guy, big personality. He's thinking to himself, nothing's ever going to happen to me.
Right. He's like, chicks, man.
So he gets together. One day he's flown out to LA to have a meeting, and she's going to be with him. Lainey's going to be with him, and they're going to speak to somebody about some money, and they're trying to work out their differences because she wants like $250,000, and he's saying no, there's no way because they haven't even shot any film yet. They haven't done anything. Right. This movie doesn't come out until Christmas in 1984. So they're going to a meeting, and one of his he's feeling weird enough that he calls his mother. He flies to LA and he's staying at some fancy place. And he's always like, and normally he flies private and he stays at the Four Seasons, or he's like always doing everything at the top dollar. And this one, like, he flew commercial. He was staying at some Heritage Inn. Like, it was very whatever.
The Heritage Inn.
Oh, no. One of his clients at the time, by the way, was Damon Wilson from Sanford and Son. Remember Sanford and Son? He was the son.
Yeah.
He was the son in
Yeah.
Sanford and Son.
Yeah.
He was his agent. So that was the level of client that he had. So he calls he's on the phone all day. This is May 13th, 1983. And it's going to be an evening conference that he's going to be with. So they're going to drive in the hills and have some conversation. And first he calls his mother and says, if anything happens to me, I want you to know that I love you very much. Which, yeah. And he's talking to some other people, and they're starting to talk amongst each other. Like, he sounds scared. Like, this is the first time they realize, like, this guy realizes this is not.
Right.
Yeah. So he says to Damon Wilson, can you follow us in our limo? As we're going to be in a limo, we're going to drive. And Damon says, sure. Because he had a feeling, he also felt like something was going on.
Okay.
So it's Lainey and it's Roy Raydin, and they're in this limo and they're driving north, and it's going north of the city to Gorman, California. I don't know where that is, but it says it's 105 kilometers north of Los Angeles.
Okay.
And on their way driving there, the limousine loses Damon. So he's just like, whoop, what can I do? He goes home.
No cell phones, by the way.
There's no cell phones. There's very few car phones. I mean, you could probably find some in some movies, but it wasn't common.
Gorman's unincorporated. It's an unincorporated community.
Ooh.
North of Los Angeles. Interesting. Okay.
All right. Giving us some context there.
There we go. Okay.
Nobody hears from him. He just disappears. And the police are like, nah, he probably got caught up with some, Colombian drug lord or something, and they're holding him hostage. I'm sure they'll get to him. Or it's some Cuban drug lord. Like, they think it's a Colombian, a sea country. But nobody's looking for him. He just disappears. When his mother calls the police, his mother is calling people. His mother finally puts out a $1 million reward for his safe return to find him, because nobody's finding this guy. So several weeks after they find his body, and he's found by a beekeeper, and it's in Gorman, California, and he has several shotgun wounds to the head, obliterates his face. They have to identify him by his dental records.
Damn.
Lainey is nowhere with him. She would later on go to say, oh, he left me off at the corner. Oh, no, I argued with him and then I went here. Like, she made
sure,
up.
Jan.
Yeah. She made up several stories. They never considered her as a suspect.
Women don't do stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So a few months, they do find him. And at the time, and I'm reading this New York Times, story, a lot of cops are thinking, we think there's some big Colombian or Cuban cocaine cartel, a lot of C words there, sorry about that, over Hollywood, and we're going to bust it up. So we think he was a part of that. So that's what we're going to go for. And that is exactly their MO.
All of that because they're underestimating
a woman who was married 7 times at this point. Had several plastic surgeries, had several names that she used, had been arrested for drugs before.
Yeah.
Like
she's just standing there like, I'm just a little baby.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like,
Anyway, there's another cop that comes along, and his name is Bill Stoner. And he kind of inherits the case 5 years, like 4 or 5 years later. And it's one of those cases like they don't really want because it's what you give a cop that's going to retire soon. Like just a lot of foot traffic and calling people.
Yeah.
Because
you get a cop who's like, I'm 2 weeks from retirement. And then
I'm too
gonna
old for
buy a
this
boat.
shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy a boat and I'm gonna sail around the world and live forever. Like that's what they think.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
And it's his. And he doesn't want to do it, but he's like, okay. So he looks at the case fresh and says, what happened to this chick? This Lady Jacobs / Karen Greenberger? Does anybody ever follow up with her? And they're like, I don't know. He follows up with her. And it turns out that she folds. Like she completely folds. And it turns out that she hired a contract killer, William Menser. And he is one of the 4 people sentenced for the shooting of Raydin. There were several people who shot him multiple times. She was convicted of second-degree murder and kidnapping. I don't know why she didn't get first degree.
Wow.
But her involvement was motivated by anger and being cut out of a producer's role for the Cotton Club movie. Once again, the movie that didn't do very well. And I find it hard to watch. I kind of find it super boring. It became known as the Cotton Club murder. And the Hollywood aspect of it is that film producer Robert Evans was investigated as a person of interest. They thought he had more to do with the murder than her. Robert Evans, if you know anything of Robert Evans, like, I don't think murderer. I don't think like a guy that would hire contract killers and do all these other things. He's way too into cocaine and banging chicks. Like, he doesn't care. But
it's not his thing.
It's not his thing. So he is put on the stand and he invokes his Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination. And they have absolutely no witnesses to get to contradict that. Like he had nothing to do with it. And she herself said he had nothing to do with it. He's a nice man.
Does he take the Fifth because like he drugs and he doesn't want
so
to
he
be
had
charged?
a son, and his son, what's his son's name? Well, his son, he was in The Doors too. He played the manager of The Doors, but he had a kid, and he didn't want, nobody wants that cocaine arrest on their record. Even though it is the 80s, you still don't want that. I mean,
no, of course not.
He thinks he's going to have Josh. That's his son's name, Josh. He was married to Ally McGraw. That was their son.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't have anything to do with it, by the way. But he also, like, he didn't want to talk about his drug thing. Like, that's just,
right.
That's what he didn't really want to get into.
Yeah.
So she was convicted 8 years after they found his body. Oops, hold on. My Alexa just went off.
That's okay. Did you say 8 years after they found his body?
8 years they had this trial.
Okay.
So, 8 years they couldn't figure out that the woman that was with him in the car the whole time.
Yeah, and then finally, like, a cop saw, hey, did you do it? And she's like, yes, here's a signed notarized letter saying that I did it. Like,
they really were just hoping to go for acquittal. They were just kind of, but okay. So she and Robert Lowe were convicted of second-degree murder and kidnapping, requiring an automatic life sentence without possibility of parole. William Menser, Alex Marty, who was 30 at the time, were convicted of first-degree murder. The jury also found that Menser and Marty killed Raydin for financial gain during a kidnapping, special circumstances that opened the possibility of death in the gas chamber, but they did not get that.
Isn't that interesting that financial gain is the special circumstance that can get you? It's like, actually, that seems less offensive to me than like someone who murders because you hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Like, does that, like, wanting money almost makes sense to me. I think there's easier way to make money, but weird. Anyway, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole other show. So that is the story today of the Cotton Club murders and the murder of Roy Raydin for the What a Creep podcast.
Thank you, my friend. Good job.
Thank you.
Now I kind of want to watch the movie, but
It's fine. It's just not. It's the thing. That's the thing when you watch it. It's like this is fine. It looks great. The
yeah.
locations are beautiful. It has it's an amazing cast. It's Richard Gere, Diane Lane, the Hines brothers. Bob Hoskins is in this. It's gorgeous, and it's
Yeah.
But the story in and of itself is kind of a snooze.
Okay. Good to know.
So
Well, I decided, since I didn't know anything about the Cotton Club murders and I didn't want to look it up, I decided this went over well last time we did it. So I wanted to do, how about some good news?
oh my God, thank you.
So let's do some good news. First, in the Republican controlled legislatures in Utah and Idaho, they passed this thing where they're like, you can't hang rainbow flags at your schools or government buildings. This is not the good news. Hold on. So the Democratic controlled cities of Salt Lake City and Boise adopted new city flags that use the rainbow.
Thank God.
So now the schools and the government buildings in Salt Lake City and Boise have rainbow flags.
Nice.
Cry more, losers. The new Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney was here this week and gave a nice
He's
little
not the premier. He's the prime minister. Angela corrected me in one of my show notes. I put the wrong thing down.
Oh, yep. Sorry, everybody. He came to the White House, gave a nice little masterclass in how we treat Trump, garbage person, predator Trump. Because Trump, again, was doing the whole, I can't wait to make it another one of our state. And he was just very clear, like, Canada is not for, but he tried to be nice about it. He was like, as someone who worked in real estate, you know that some things aren't for sale. Like Canada is not for sale. And Trump's like, never say never. But this guy was giving so much side eye to the press and he has like no poker face that it was just so good. Go check out the memes too. And speaking of memes, we have a new pope. And
from Chicago.
The
Bears.
It's Abe Foreman from the Sausage King of Chicago. No, he's from Chicago. He is it's going by Pope Leo the 14th, I think, if I know my Roman numerals. And he gave his first speech already where he really did take aim at President Trump. He's very much advocating for migrant rights, and other Catholic Christian things that people should do, like feeding the poor and giving health care to people and all the things that the GOP super fucking hates. Also, this Pope dunked on J.D. Vance a few times on Twitter before he was elected as Pope, which is delightful. But also be careful because you saw what J.D. Vance did to the last Pope.
Yeah.
But if you want to go on your social media and look at the memes, they're lovely. All the Chicago memes, so funny about the Pope. My favorite was the last time someone from Chicago was on a mission from God. It's the Blues Brothers. And also when like the MAGA hats are like so upset, they picked the right person. Look, he's not perfect. Like, he's not super progressive. Like, whether he's not going to be for abortion rights, or he's probably not going to be for
gay rights,
gay rights and things like that. But they're all freaking out and calling him the woke pope and all this stuff. So stupid.
Oh my God, they're so stupid.
And what's so funny is they're just like, he's the woke pope and fuck this guy and blah, blah, blah. These people who claim they're religious, but they're not. They're not. They're always whining that no one respects their religion. And I'm like, you don't even respect your religion. Like, this is like supposed to be like your highest person in your religion, the closest to God, if you will. And they're like, yeah, fuck that guy. Like, they're such losers. Such losers. Okay. I have two more little stories. Bill Gates. Now, yeah, no, I'm not saying he's not a creep, but he does have the Gates Foundation, and he donates a lot of money. And he announced this week that the Gates Foundation should be out of business by 2045 because it will have given away almost all of his personal fortune. Like, he really is, like, putting his money where his mouth is. And he said, people will say a lot of things about me when I die, but I'm determined that he died rich will not be one of them.
That's awesome.
It's pretty
I do
awesome.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. He said, there are too many urgent problems to solve for me to hold onto resources that could be used to help people. I'm like, that's
Okay.
pretty dope. And his ex-wife, Melinda, who got a nice fat settlement from him, has also been like just donating, helping people. Jeff Bezos' ex-wife also does that.
Mm-hmm.
So but here's my favorite story.
Oh, thank you.
So, have you heard about Valerie the wiener dog?
No.
Okay. So a couple last year went to a island in South Australia called Kangaroo Island. They went with their little wiener dog, Valerie. They were out like doing whatever on the island, and Valerie got away from them and like ran away. They couldn't catch her. And for like a while, like everybody was looking for her and they couldn't get this dog. Eventually they just gave up and they like left. I guess this would have been November 2023. It feels like a lifetime ago.
I know.
So, but and they were just like, well, we can't find her. And they just assumed that like an animal probably got to her or something like that. But there's all these cameras all over, like nature cams all over. And Valerie started showing up on the nature cams and totally fine, living her best life, just living off the land, being all silly like wiener dogs do. And then people kept trying to catch Valerie and they could not catch her. And they're setting up all these traps.
Oh, that's hilarious.
This went on for 540 days. And they finally, she wandered into one of their traps and they were able to catch her. And they returned her to the owners and they were like, she is totally healthy.
Oh, thank God.
There's not a scratch on her.
Oh, thank God.
She's been eating well. Like, she's so happy to be with her people. Like, they're like crying, like holding her, and she's all like barky and wiggly and wagging her tail, and she's so happy to be with her people. But it is, as someone who owned a dachshund, let me tell you, they are stubborn AF. And they are so fast.
Really?
Like if they want to get away from you,
they'll get away from you.
They will get away from you. I don't know how many times we had to chase my dog Homer down the middle of a fucking street.
Oh, Jesus.
And he was so fast. You could not, and he could turn on a dime. I don't know how their long little bodies do it, but it is bananas to me that this little wiener dog, which has a human name, which I'm such a fan when people name their dogs human names. Like, this is my dog, Steve. Like, oh, God, I love it. But Valerie, seriously, where's the documentary? I'll watch it right now. Like,
did you watch Hacks yet this week?
No.
Okay.
It's on my list.
I'm going to tell you something because I almost had a heart attack watching it last night. It's a good story. So Deborah, who Jean Smart plays, she's at home and her daughter is having a baby. And she sends her maid / housekeeper, nurse, whatever, to live with her daughter for the last couple of days. And she says to her very clearly, look out for the dogs at night. Lock that dog door at night. And she's like, oh, like I'm going to forget. Okay. So a couple of scenes later, she comes home, she's drunk, and she's calling out for her dog. And I think he has also a human name, and he's not responding. And she's like, oh my God, oh my God. And then she looks at her screen in her kitchen and it's of her backyard and it's a coyote chasing her dog, her corgi. And she runs out because I'm screaming at this point, like, how dare you people put a fucking dog in danger in this show? I want my humor.
I'm all, that's not what I'm paying for HBO Max for.
So she runs out there and with her big purse, she throws it at the coyote, chases it away, and she grabs the corgi and she gets to the house and he's okay.
Oh,
so
phew.
I know. But for a second there, it was like very, very like my heart palpitations were kicking in.
Yeah, no. Margot and I are very similar this way. I could watch an action movie where they kill like 1,000 people and I'd be like, what are you gonna do? But the minute like a dog is in any animal's in danger, I'm like, how dare you? You have gone too far. I will burn this theater down. So that was our final story. I'm really happy that Valerie is reunited with her peeps. And
I'm glad she was safe.
The videos of Valerie just being like she's on Survivor or something, like just wandering around the eye. And it's like the night camera. So she has like the eyes that are like.
Where was this again?
It was on Kangaroo Island, which I'm going to assume has kangaroos, but maybe not.
So this is in Australia?
It's in Australia, but it does have like really crazy snakes. And it's also got these like giant reptiles called like goannas, I think is how you pronounce it. And they can be like 5 feet long. So like they could fuck up a wiener dog for sure.
I wonder what she ate. Well, I guess I don't want to know.
Maybe we don't want to know.
No.
But the pictures, like she looks super healthy and fine. And I'm like, it just made me so happy because I had been seeing the stories for a while where they're like, nope, they still haven't got her. And I'm like, come on, Valerie.
All right. Well, that's the show this week. And if you like the sound of our voices, and by golly, why wouldn't you?
Right.
We co-host a show called Dorking Out where we dork out about movies. What are we going to be dorking out about next, Sonia?
We are going to be talking about the 4 seasons. Yes, the show on Netflix, but also the movie, the original 1981 movie with Alan Alda and Carol Burnett. I actually had one of our What a Creep listeners reach out because we had talked a little bit about 4 seasons on our bonus episode. And she's like, I hope you really do a deeper dive on the Netflix show. Because she's like, I want to hear more.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're going to get more because we're going to do a whole episode. Like, there you go.
And we're going to have to talk about it all.
We're going to talk about all of it. So, and it'll be really, really fun. And we love Alan Alda. Like, I had such a crush on Alan Alda when I was younger.
Same.
Because I watched MASH all the time.
Yeah.
At the time, he would have been like my old man crush, right? Like, because
he was in his 40s or something.
He's in his 40s and I'm like 12.
He was going gray. Remember that?
Yes. But I was still like, loved Hawkeye Pierce.
It also has Rita Moreno, but they have her playing Italian for some reason.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. This is very 1981. Okay. Yeah. So all those places I mentioned at the top of the show, you can reach out to us. Our email, once again, is whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. And Sonia, where can they find you?
You can find me at thesoniashow.com. I am writing on there again. You can find me at Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram and the TikTok. Where can people find you, Margot?
You can find me at brooklynfitchick.com. I'm at brooklynfitchick for Threads and Instagram. I'm at Brooklyn Margot for Blue Sky and for TikTok. And then at my name, Margot Donahue, for the YouTube. Okay, everybody? Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. In the meantime, be kind, be generous, be brave. Just don't be a creep.
Be a creep. Thank you for listening to us talk about creeps. You can follow us at What a Creep Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
But don't follow us too closely.
You can email us your creepy stories at whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com.
But please keep your dick pics to yourself.